Okay, I have the piston well oiled, connecting rods attached to it. I have my ring gap on the final, on the end, the one towards the skirt ring, pointing up, pointing up. I have my compressor on there, and what I've done is make sure your piston's well oiled, so your compressor will slide. Your piston will slide through your compressor. Then you want to tighten the ring compressor. What that's going to do is that's going to squeeze that ring, and then you'll be able to tap it in. Yeah, that's nice. Your hammer, then you can loosen it up and set the other rings. Yeah, looks like I got it stuck in the cylinder there. Get that out of there. And then what you're going to do is you're going to line the other rings up just like I showed you before. Oil them up really good. Do the same thing. Now, then when you get your piston in there far enough, you want to make sure your crankshaft, the throw on your crankshaft is back. So your connecting rod isn't going to hit it, or you want to look at your connecting rod too and make sure it's going to go where it needs to go. Here's the stack of shims for the connecting rod. And what these work out to is about 116 on this particular crank. When I fit the connecting rods to the crankshaft earlier in my videos, I come up with about 112. I think the whole thing is I did not tighten them down with 95 foot-pounds of torque, and of course that makes it tighter, and they were binding. So it took me probably 2 hours fidgeting with the connecting rods, and take the rod and put it on the crank, and it's very difficult to put it on the crank, and you know, in that space with the cylinder on, and then fidget with these little shims, little bit at a time, little bit at a time, little bit at a time. Well, what I did is I got it so it was tight but not binding, and that's what the book says, tight but not binding. When I set this again, I set it and I plastic gauged it, and what I come out with was about 1.5 thousandths of an inch, almost 2 thousandths of an inch. But the crankshaft, it was binding. I don't know if that means that, because it shouldn't, if it's got 2 thousandths of an inch, but evidently it has some imperfections in the crankshaft or the bearing. And that being said, I loosened up a little bit, where my clearances are now about 3 thousandths of an inch. They're not binding now, and I have a nice smooth rotation. So that's where I am now.